Monday, July 8th, 2024 at 6 p.m. In attendance, we have myself, Trustee Marowski, Trustee Johnson, Trustee Mack, Chief Picasso this evening, Carl Snowborn, Treasurer, and Attorney John Kelly. I almost said Jim Morgo.
We're missing someone, a flashback.
Yeah. And no, yeah.
Talked to her a couple of weeks ago, she wasn't the weather.
Okay. Good doing all right?
2 weeks ago she was.
All right. And if we all rise for Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I would like to open the public hearing on the ordinance adopting the budget and appropriations of the Rockland Fire Protection District, Lake County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2024 and ending April 30th, 2025. It's open at 6:01.
Second.
I think I just opened it with the motion.
Just call it to order, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Just open it. We'll put John record for a second again. Thanks, Chris.
Whatever you want.
I need this. Stamp it out.
Just keep it going.
Any public comment?
Want me to do a summary now or a summary on the next item?
Well, you're as close as we come to the public right now.
Yeah.
I'll do the summary now and then for this next item, I'll say, referring to the summary I just gave.
There, Carl?
Okay, so, sort of a quick summary, this is the appropriation for this year, and then just quickly went through for, under building operation for doing 10,000 for building maintenance, 20,000 for utilities, nothing for mortgage because it's paid off, and $8,000 contingency for a total of $38,000. Under district administration, legal 20,000, salary 6,000, education 2,000, office expense 5,000, and again a contingency of 12,000 for 45,000. Fire and rescue service, the intergovernmental agreement at 40% because for the fire and rescue side of it will be $225,914 for total corporate fund expenditures of $308,914. Then on the ambulance fund, we are looking at an appropriation of $338,870 for again a total of $338,870. And then for the tort fund, the liability insurance fund, we are looking at a appropriation of $4,000. So in total, from three funds, that's $651,784. And just in perspective, we're expecting to get a total total income this year, total revenue this year to be $697,160. So that should leave us with a planned budget surplus of $45,376. It all goes up. Typically, we come in under budget, so the surplus is a bit larger. So that is the summary of it. So I think the public has now heard what we plan to do.
Any public comment? Question? Comments? Concerns?
The notice was, we have a certificate of publication, the notice was published. So.
And it was posted, the preliminary budget was posted in plenty of time on the window.
Okay. Well, with there being no public comment, no further questions, comments, or concerns, I'd like to close the public hearing at 6:05 p.m. Do I need a motion for that?
Yeah, since you did it to open.
Okay. Can I get a motion to close public hearing at 6:05 p.m.?
I so motion.
You want a second that? Okay. So Bruce. And I guess we'll do a roll call. Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Mack? Aye. Trustee Marowski? Aye. Okay. Moving on to agenda 4. Discussion action on the ordinance adopting the budget and appropriations of the Rockland Fire Protection District, Lake County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2024, and ending April 30th, 2025.
Okay, so I gave you the quick summary, and you've got it in front of you. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to address them.
Chris, you have your calculator out, Carl's numbers work.
Well, I've got a spreadsheet that I build first and then just transfer the numbers in, because, and I probably had to, while I was building it, like 3 or 4 corrections. Oh, I didn't see that, oh, I missed that, you know, so that's the way to do it.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the budget for the fiscal year 24 to 25. There you go, ordinance number 2024-0-01 as presented. Read the full title, please. Full title. Ordinance adopting the budget and appropriation of the Rockland Fire Protection District for the fiscal year beginning May 1st of 2024 and ending April 30th, 2025. Thank you.
I'll second. I didn't second it anymore.
That's fine.
Roll call vote, trustee Mack,
Aye.
trustee Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Malinowski.
Aye.
And
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
So we need to populate this. Does this need to be notarized or just witnessed? I attested.
Yeah, yeah.
there's a
And then,
whole bunch of signature pages that
I
we
see.
each have to sign what.
right, and we will have to file one with the
With the
county.
county.
You gonna do that?
No,
Or do you want me to?
I would like you to do that if you would.
Okay,
Yeah.
So just to make sure I get a signed copy before I leave tonight.
Okay.
We'll take care of getting that filed.
Okay.
I can fill in the other stuff,
I understand.
and then you guys can sign.
Okay.
We can do that at the conclusion?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you happen to bring a copy of the minutes from last meeting, Bruce? I forgot to email you and ask you.
I brought a copy.
You brought it?
You guys need it.
Not for last meeting, the meeting prior.
Or meeting prior, because there was no, so.
Yeah, there was no.
For the public,
Meeting.
last meeting was canceled due to a health emergency, my culpa.
No, you weren't the reason, just we didn't have a quorum.
We didn't have a song.
So be it.
I wasn't gonna throw you under the bus
That's okay.
this time.
I know. I got a thick skin. I did actually look at these. I'm serious. I was not aware. Actually, Jen, could you send those to everybody? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yep, if that's what you want me to do, that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I
We'll
just
just-
didn't
we'll just do
realize
that.
that. I did take a look at these when I printed out the rest, so take a quick look at that.
Look when the email comes through.
We're gonna,
That's fine.
one
You guys can vote, you can approve them all abstain.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of, the regular meeting for, May 13th, 2024.
Seconded.
All right, and the voice vote, all those in favor say aye. Anybody oppose? And one abstain. There. All right, chiefs.
All right, I'll go.
Wow, are you guys gonna rock, paper, scissors?
No, I know that look. It's all good. So, sent out the monthly for June, I believe it was last week. Hopefully you had a chance to review it. We had a total of 8 calls in Rockland, 5 emergency, or 5 EMS, 1 fire-related, and a couple false alarm, false calls. Times are on the back of that page or on the second page, depending on if you text it. For the most part, our average emergent response time is right there, you can see it, 4:41, under 5 minutes. There was one call that I wanted to discuss that's highlighted on June 27th, had a very long response time. Fortunately, the call wasn't anything serious. I think it was a psychiatric evaluation or something like that. However, I wanted to discuss what's going on currently in the county with a virtual consolidation of CAD. So recently, all the Lake County Fire Departments consolidated and were using a CAD system called Tyler Technologies. It's New World or Tyler, depending on how you look at it. In a perfect world, all those CADs can talk to each other. So let's say if Glenview, for example, gets a call, but it needs to go to the new Lakecom eventually, or even Vernon Hills, they could see what's going on because the CAD is consolidated. So it wouldn't really necessarily have to go to Vernon Hills. It could just stay in Glenview and they could dispatch the appropriate people, right? That's, even though everyone's on Tyler CAD, the CADs aren't talking to each other yet because there's proprietary information and hardware and software that's needed to have all the different CAD systems talk. The new version that we currently have is not working as well as it should be. However, they're working out all the bugs. The CAD system that Pete and his department at Glenview are using has been established. It works well. Unfortunately, the two different versions don't talk to each other right now. So that, in part, has something to do with that unusually long response time. They're working on it. Every time we see something like this, Chief Siebert and I check with our dispatch centers just to get justification so we can answer some emails, because usually, typically, a response time, anything greater than 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, that warrants an email at least to the dispatch director. But almost a 15-minute response time, that is not acceptable, right? So the two dispatch centers talked, they looked at it, there was a little bit of confusion on rigs that were available. That's in part due to the CAD. The CADs are trying to talk to each other, but they're not. So I just wanted to explain to you that eventually in the near future, all those CADs will be talking to each other, which will make the whole purpose of consolidating a reality, right? To try to minimize those response times so it's all seamless. We can get the emergency vehicles to the actual emergency as fast as possible. So that's in process right now. It's working. Every once in a while, very rarely does something like this happen. So we apologize, but they're working.
Thankfully, it wasn't anything serious. Right here that's being worked on. Acknowledged.
So, and ultimately, the response got, just going through some of that stuff was growing pains, but, like I said, where our station crews were out, they showed our backup ambulance is available, it was not, nobody there to staff it, so by the time things are figured, it goes through all those, that bouncing back and forth, what each case called CAD to CAD is what they're looking at, so that our hands will talk. And it's gonna get there, but it's
So that's growing pains.
I gotta ask the question, is anybody giving you some sort of, because you never know, you won't know until it's not working. So at this point, is there like a scheduled end date acceptance test or something where we're gonna understand that they've kind of gone through this and they've confirmed the bugs are gone?
There isn't a set schedule, like it should be done by this point in time. I know that our version of CAD and Tyler Technologies is working with our ATSB, working on the bugs because it was a push to roll it out on the police and fire side. It's been, depending on who you ask, it's been a nightmare. It was something that had to happen. However, with any type of change as great as this, affecting so many different municipalities and agencies, there are going to be hiccups. Tyler is working on those hiccups, and they're pretty quick to respond. However, the CAD to CAD that Pete was talking about, that costs money. So they're still in the process of negotiating on who's going to pay for it and how that's all going to work. But it's going to happen soon because the liability is too great, right, for it not to happen. So.
Yeah, so just to read, so they still haven't worked out the actual contract to get it fixed.
It's in process as far as what the directors of these dispatch centers are telling us.
Yeah, I understand. At least in the systems that I'm used to dealing with, there's normally like when you go through an upgrade like this or a changeover, there's normally at some point things look like they're working, but you don't know until you have something fall through the cracks. So they usually run a stress test, or what we call an it's a something acceptance test. And I'll get a report on those typically within 10, 15 days after they run it. So I would presume that they're gonna do something like that.
Those tests have been completed, however, there are anomalies that happen, like rig availability, for example, like Pete was talking about. Sometimes the CAD assumes a rig is in service or in quarters, but the way it's all written now, everybody writes their cards a little bit differently. So because those two CADs aren't talking together, those two CADs don't know what's in service and what's not, especially when the primary response unit is not there, so it's looking for the second response unit. It's built into the card, and it automatically assigns that one. So it looks like it's available, but if it's not because of manning and it wasn't changed, in the CAD, then it just goes into a cycle, and it like basically has a virtual meltdown until somebody realizes that something's going on, right? Which is, you don't like to hear that when it comes to dispatch.
And they're constantly kicking out updates to the system, and we've had like a glitch as well, where it shows like we have a cross-staffing group that shows if you have like X amount of people, it'll say this, there's no more rigs because there's no more people that go on it. So it was defaulting, or it was kicking things back out of that. So we keep an eye on it, we've got it. And so it's like I said, it's one of those.
I'm sure it's one of those lessons learned from the dispatchers.
Yeah, for as much as there's all this technology, it still comes down to somebody pushing a button and calling their phone and all that. So we do the best we can to keep our people on it and watch it. But when they're out running a whole bunch of other calls, sometimes that happens. So.
Now, when FEMA upgraded their automated T-card process, that took them 18 months. And even after they ran the national acceptance test, and it had like a .0001 failure rate, first time we used it, it busted.
Right.
So I get it. And clearly it's not anything that the operators control. I'm just kind of wondering where it is in the process.
So this situation was because, are you having this problem in other areas of your district? Like if Station 3 is out, Station 2 backfills, or is this an
Yes.
issue of the car's built to where the backfills like Forest, but like Forest wasn't available and the system just worked, I guess?
The relationship that we have with Rockland, and then you have two departments covering it, and two dispatch centers covering that, creates a perfect storm from time to time, right? So it did what it was supposed to do. It pulled the reserve ambulance, but that reserve ambulance wasn't staffed. CAD thought it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't caught for a few minutes, and once somebody realized that nobody was en route, then they
went to Station 2.
Yeah.
Station 2.
Station 2 finally took them off. Yeah. So it's one of those things.
So that's the breakdown, is that it's two dispatch centers, not so much, you haven't experienced this outside of your normal district.
Right, so when this CAD to CAD goes into service, it's gonna be great, because then it doesn't matter how many, it's all gonna talk together. So then we will talk to the new Baycom, and it's all gonna be seamless. That's what they tell us. That's why they're doing this, right? We just have to go through the growing pains before that happens. So, and then as far as department, information, we had our annual the Regal Days celebration. That was a lot of fun. We had great weather until the end. We had to stop. We had to kick everybody out of the beer tents about an hour early because the weather was coming in. That caused a lot of problems, but it's all good. Everybody survived. And then our 4th of July celebration on the night of July 4th was incredible too, just because we saw Mundelein and Vernon Hills at the same time. So depending on where you were sitting, you could see 3 shows all at once, which was kind of cool. So everything went off safe. Good time.
We were busy. I didn't look it up, but I think this is our busiest month ever with 36 calls. There's a asterisk there, 23 ambulance calls, 10 lift assist calls to the same address, and I was going to look into it further, but it hasn't persisted, so I don't know if this is I was shocked with the 4th of July celebration. We had 0 calls through the whole time.
That's amazing.
Like no calls. Yeah.
Piece of
So
wood.
like,
It could be the cat.
later that
Yeah.
night, you know, with they held it on our new turf field, which was, kind of, they were wondering what was gonna happen. I haven't heard anything back on it. They're gonna have an after action on it, but probably 2,500, 3,000 people on that turf field with drinks and chairs, and so I think a lot of people were holding their breath, but yeah, the fireworks went off. We did have, our fireworks display on the 3rd and the 4th, because I don't see it looking around the 3rd, they had a failure. You saw Crystal Lake had this failure with the barge. We had one of the tubes fail, where it blew out the side, the mortar blew out a 6-inch out of the side on the first night, and blew the rack apart, nothing happened. They replaced it, and it did in the exact same spot, but didn't pull the rack apart. I was there, because I stage at the ground zero there, to make sure everything fires off. And there was some shooting sideways, like at their truck, and it was interesting, but nobody lost any fingers or limbs, and no fire, so.
Good.
That's all I got.
I just have a question for you. Understand, Atkinson Road's gonna be closed for about 2 months at the tollway.
Yes.
Now, for us, it's probably not a big deal, because Station 3 is on the right side for us. But I just wondering, in general, obviously to service Green Oaks there, you're gonna have to be going on through Buckley and Rockland.
So we were told by the project manager that will stay open for emergency vehicles at all times.
Oh, okay, good, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Excellent.
so that will close on the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if you don't know, Milwaukee Avenue is closed with the Metro Tracks for 10 days, starting today. And Oak Spring Road, the bridge over the Des Plaines River, it was open today, it was supposed to close today, but that's closed probably tomorrow for a full year.
That's a year, yes.
Wow.
So,
What there is-
just plan your trips accordingly.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Yeah.
As of the repay Milwaukee this year.
All right. Thank you, Chiefs. Sorry, any other questions for Chiefs or anything? Okay, moving on to agenda item 7, public comment. The district trustees allocate time for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the fire district trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Any public comment? Nope, nobody present.
I almost feel like we need to go wellness check.
2 weeks ago, so we'll see. We'll check. All right, attorney's report.
The only thing I got is, the governor has now signed Public Act 103-0634, which is an amendment to the fire district bidding law that now allows the district to contract directly with a manufacturer of, a dealer or manufacturer of original equipment without having to go to bid unless it's more than $50,000. And the governor signed that last week, so it will become effective, January 1st of 2025.
So basically, if we had all MSA, we could call up MSA and just buy.
Correct. As long as it was less than 50. Because right now, everything you bid is, anything more than 20, you have to bid. Now this exception says, unless you're doing it with a direct deal, then you can go to $49.99. And that's all I have.
Thanks, John. Treasurer report. Carl.
So on the balance sheet, the checking account stands at $776,233.76. The reserve account is $312,137.84. And petty cash remains at $81.75 for total assets of $1,088,453.35. We do not have a budget report yet because we just passed budget today. We will have a budget tracking report next month. So that is the treasurer's report.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented. And roll call vote, trustee Mack.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson. Trustee Malinowski. Outstanding invoices, Carl.
Okay, so the report includes both May and June because since
Yep.
you didn't get a chance to approve the Mays. So there'll be doubles of a lot of stuff. Okay, we did pay our liability insurance for $4,030. The first quarter payment from the IGAs, so that's $121,196. 141, thank you. Phone and internet, $252. Our annual property tax bill of $60. Everybody pays. It's Skokie drainage, yes. North Shore gas, $138. Lake County water, $28. Housing goods for the legal retainer, $850. ComEd for $317. North Shore water reclamation for sewer, $13. Let's see, Lorenzo, $225 for the 2 checks that he never cashed last year that got refunded to us. So, payment for that. Comcast, Century Pete again, $252. Addison Grits, $850. North Shore Gas, $42. Intersecurity System, a quarter for alarm monitoring, $120. ComEd, $138. And Lake County Public Works for water, $6.92. For total expenditures for the 2 months of $148,516.76.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the outstanding invoices for the past 2 months in the amount of $148,516.76.
I'll second the motion.
And roll call vote. Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Mack. Aye. Trustee Malinowski. Aye. All right. Thank you, Carl. Agenda item 11, discussion action on building tenant proposals. So, Nipis, yes. Nipis has requested to install, they are looking to install cameras. Our IGA doesn't prohibit it, however, any improvements or modifications outside of the initial stipulations that we had here, like the window tinting, changing keys or codes, or installing air pump and apparatus, but anything outside of that, they need written approval from us. So I forwarded the letter that I received from Jamie, Jamie Watson from Nipis. And I think we talked and really aren't any issues with it, right?
Nothing from a legal perspective, clearly, we wanna make sure that they're where they are aiming the cameras, so they're not aiming into residences or businesses and things like that. But this parking lot coverage, there's no, this fire district act doesn't prohibit it, and I don't think any of your, rules prohibit it.
Oh, they actually wanted exterior and interior. I thought it was exterior and interior.
Well, they have interior in the bay.
Yeah, they had some interior in the bay, but they're probably looking for, I mean, those look like internet cameras. Right?
Yeah,
Looking
yeah,
for
if
like
they
a
were-
system, I would assume.
I would like a little bit of justification for cameras in the interior of the building outside of the bay. I just don't like to
Sure.
understand what their, rationale is for that, since this is a public space and we hold public meetings here. The other thing
And
is.
so if they had it in the bay, and I don't think they've claimed an office, even though we've allotted them one for the IGA, but outside of the bay and whatever their office would be, if they're looking to place cameras outside of those areas, I agree, what would be the justification?
Yeah, just to get that. And the other thing, I think I've talked with you one-on-one on this, I've talked with Bruce one-on-one on this, would also be, that we should be hands-off on this, that they manage the system and we have no access to it at all. And primarily to get away from any issues of having to do FOIA, so that, that being said, if something occurs that is warranted that we need to see it, then that's okay. And what I would recommend is they can show us something, but even if they need to make us a copy for something, because of a legal issue or whatever, then that particular copy will become foilable, but I think we really wanna keep it at arm's length. This is not our system, this is their system.
Oh, but, so John, again, like, let's say on other public buildings that have security cameras, is that foilable?
It is generally, there are exceptions that are often applied if the camera and its view will reveal security issues, then typically, if I'm posed that question, I say deny it.
Okay, yeah, so how do we wanna handle this?
Non-common areas, like common areas, no,
Yeah.
there's no reason for hallways and kitchen, right? I mean, like, that's crazy.
No, frankly, they've got the bay, put them up in the bay, pick an office, any office, whichever one you want, put a camera in there, but otherwise, no.
Well, exterior too, they want exterior, yeah.
Exterior.
Parking lot,
but-
apron.
Yeah, I'm with Carl on this. This could be a whole Pandora's box, especially considering that we have people coming in to vote in this building.
Anymore.
Anymore?
No.
That's right,
We're not
that's right, I didn't have to do that last year, yeah. No, you're right, okay. Still, I'm not thrilled with the whole idea, because you put it in a space like this, or you put it in the kitchen, or you put it, again, happy to use the space if you need to use the space, but.
Between all these common areas and the bays are 2 locked doors.
Yeah.
And they can put cameras right on the inside of those doors to see if
Sure.
anybody comes through them.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I
they don't
totally
need to see the
understand and
traffic moving in
appreciate
the
their
building.
need. I mean, I'm
So-
fine with that.
How do we, John, how do we word this in terms of, we make a motion, say, approve the NIPA's,
I would say,
Request.
make a motion to approve the request, subject to final approval by the district
subject to final
trustees
approval
as to location.
and have the location, when we respond back to them, just say exterior, the bay, right? And their office of choice, right? Their secured office, not to include common, right? Would you call it common areas is probably what I would put as language.
Yeah.
As classroom hallways and bathrooms, like that's not necessary.
Yeah, I just, whenever you put in a term like that, everybody interprets it a little bit differently, so. I mean, their areas are called out in the lease, right?
Yes, yeah, their
So
areas are called out.
we just simply say, your areas.
So we can call it living quarters, because living quarters here is, we've defined it as bathrooms, kitchen, meeting and conference room, right? So to exclude the living quarters
Well, I was just gonna
for the IGA.
suggest,
Well, and also the offices, our offices.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah, I think-
you know, you're welcome to the areas as defined for your use under the lease, as well as the exterior of the building, subject to approval.
So that's the thing, is if you use that language, because we allow them access to the living quarters, they could put cameras in the living quarters, which includes the kitchen, the conference room, all that, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
We
I
should-
see
we
what you're
should-
saying, I
If
understand.
we use the language of the IGA,
I see what you're saying.
that's where I'm trying to stay congruent with the verbiage there.
And just say, the bay floor.
Bay floor, their office,
Designated office
office.
and exterior.
and exterior, perfect, done,
Yeah.
we'll make that happen.
Yeah.
So that's the motion, make a motion to approve NIPA's camera, request for exterior, the apparatus floor, and the designated NIPA's office.
As far as the keeping, the arm's length thing, I think, John, you talked about doing a memorandum to go along with this, just basically saying, we want no part of this.
Yeah,
Just to spell that out.
yeah.
We'll send that over.
So you made the motion,
Yep.
I'll go ahead and second it. Voice vote, roll call vote.
Roll call's probably better.
Trustee Mack,
Aye.
trustee Johnson,
Aye.
trustee Malinowski, aye.
Then we'll just send that memorandum wherever.
Yeah, would we like to designate just one, person to be contact, to, say, Officer
Cause I
Johnson?
had Jamie send that to you,
Yes.
so
Speaking of it, is Jamie now our contact?
Jamie's been the contactor, yes.
Okay,
His
so he's the one I
previous-
can send the bill to.
That's a great question. Send it to him, he seems to be the guy that's on point.
My guess
in
is if
terms of-
he's not, he'll know who to send it to.
Exactly, because when I reached
I will
out
do
to
that.
someone else, he's like, I retired. You
Yeah,
know, and I'm like,
I know.
Okay.
It's a mix.
So,
If the board's comfortable, I'll draft something for you to respond to them.
Yeah.
Basically reflecting what you've done tonight and the desire to make sure that it's independently operated and not in any way part of the district's
Yeah,
Awesome,
responsibility.
thank you, John.
do you want to handle that with Nyquist, or do you want me to do it?
No, respond, because it's the, I asked him specifically to send it to the
Okay,
president.
so with the board's permission, I'd like, I used to be the contact to Jamie Watson
There you go.
regarding this. We need a motion for that, John?
No.
Okay,
No, that's fine.
You're cool with it?
That's fine.
You're okay with it?
My blessing.
Okay.
One thing I would suggest, ask them to do a schematic of where they intend to place these.
I can ask,
That's a good
sure.
idea. Do you have Jamie's contact info?
All I have is his email, actually, no, it's in the email and his phone number. He also, per this letter, he
Oh,
also gave us
they're right
the
here.
commander on here,
Got
yep,
it,
yep.
yes. I was looking had it not in the body.
Just a simple, like, X here in the corner thing, so there's no questions.
Well, if they're getting it done professionally, which I suspect, but we don't know, then it
Still,
certainly
you
should
should
have a
have it anyway.
schematic. I don't think they're just gonna hang internet cameras up on the site.
You know what, I've seen some pretty strange things, so it's worth asking the question.
And if this is something that they're gonna be hooking up to a network, they will more than likely need to get their own internet service, because I don't think ours can handle that.
Probably not. Again, it would just be safer that way, right, to not have that be part of our deal.
Yeah. Okay, so after this meeting, I'll go ahead and just send Jamie I guess a preliminary, I don't wanna say approval, but, our comments, questions, and requests while they're getting that drafted up.
I'll have it to you tomorrow.
Okay, alright then, wait. Okay.
Beautiful.
Good, so we made a motion for that, approved it, good to go. Yeah, this building tenant. So we'll do this separately since I can have something for 12. I will deviate and not combine the agenda items 12 and 13. Discussion action on lease or sale of the Rockland Fire Protection District building. So, Mr. John Josephitis, our previous listing agent, did contact me, and I did forward it to, I think, everybody, outside the chiefs, everyone on the board and the attorney. Allegedly, he has an initial offer and letter of intent that was not attached to the email that he sent from a national developer who's intending on acquiring this entire block of parcels.
Minus the townhomes.
Minus townhomes. They're well aware of IDOT's plans to eventually purchase properties here, and they're willing to purchase the parcels in the near future before IDOT makes its offer. I guess John's saying IDOT's not gonna make its offer no sooner than 2028. Now as IDOT has once again pushed back the plans. He's looking for, he would like the opportunity to submit a one-time listing agreement for the Rockland Fire Protection District for this one-time offer. Looking to let him know if I can get this approved at 5% commission by the board. He'll then submit the offer, which will have to be negotiated to get a higher price once he hears back from me. So that is what's going on with the sale. I pulled the previous agreement that we had with Mr. Josephitis. Previously it was for a 6% commission. We added a addendum to his contract, to his agreement, pretty much stating that any sale, the state of Illinois or one of its agencies, he would only be entitled to, his commission would only be applied to any amount over $830,000, which was the value that was set at the last appraisal that we had of the building, which was 2 years ago. within 2-3 years, it's,
The first one, you know, when we
yeah, prior,
decommissioned everything was
Yes.
650, then
Yeah.
this one was 800 and some odd.
830. So that was the deal with Mr. Josephitis, was that if anything went, if the property went to the state of Illinois, IDOT, he'd be only entitled to the commission of that difference, of that higher amount, since he stated he'd be able to negotiate us a better price. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. That's about it. I mean, I have a lot of comments, I guess, on Mr. Josephitis and the previous, and on him previously bringing in potential buyers here. I don't think he was as forthcoming to them about IDOT coming in, but that's in the past. So yeah, I know you're out, right? You're gonna abstain from.
Yeah, so I own a couple properties as part of this development on the personal side of the business,
Yeah.
so I will be removed from this conversation, but I will tell you that the letters of intent have come in at half the ask of what it is, with a 210-day due diligence phase and a 1% earnest money, so that's what I've been offered. Needless to say, I have not responded in 3 weeks. So I don't care.
Well, this is a one-time, right?
Correct.
For this one event.
Yes.
So.
I didn't receive any sort of contract or direct or anything. It's just all that's stated in the email.
He's
that he sent.
just, basically, it's, if you wanna see the offer, you are gonna get it through me, and I'm gonna get my commission. Okay. I would, anything that would be open-ended or outside this, I would be a lot more concerned. For a one-time, like, that's fine, but I think I've mentioned this to everybody at some point or another. I have some real concerns about the appraisal on the building. I think it was flawed to begin with, and I still think it's flawed.
The second one that the board got, or the first
The
one?
first one.
We
Ask
had
one of
another
these
one.
chiefs what a new fire station costs, and
Yeah.
they'd be happy to buy this for $800,000.
Well, that's just it. I mean,
So there's, we had a second one done.
yeah, and I'm aware of that one too.
Okay.
But that one was appraised as a general purpose building, as I understand. Whereas this is a special purpose building, it's a high bay building. So,
You couldn't,
just to your point.
replacement costs would be millions.
Yeah, exactly. So,
The elevator alone's $200,000,
yeah.
so go from there.
At this stage of the game, I think fiduciary responsibility kind of dictates that we at least have to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is it's gonna be part of a very long, drawn-up conversation that starts off with here and ends up here, and somewhere along the way, there has to be discussion about how they're valued. So, I'm not opposed to doing a one-time and saying, fine, we'll listen to anybody, we owe it to the taxpayers to do that, but I have some real concerns.
I agree with that statement.
So, John, are we allowed, so I know previously, I mean, several boards back, when they were listing the building, there were certain obligations that had to be met. I don't know if we have to put it out for bid, or, I think the way that Jim stated before is that if we're listing it with an agent, we can just pick an agent, but then that's open to anyone for bid. How does it work with this one potential offer on this one-time listing agreement?
Fire Protection District Act provides two specific means of selling fire protection districts, real estate. And one is to go to public bid. The other is to contract with a licensed real estate agent to list the property, or if you're purchasing the property.
That would be open to anybody.
Yes, but once you enter into a listing agreement or an agent agreement with Mr. Josephitis or anybody somebody else, then that is, you know, then you're not gonna be able to list it with others, because
Yeah.
it'll be an exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that meets your statutory requirement.
But as I understand it, it's for this entity only.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
That if somebody else wants to, so it's not open to anybody else to buy it through him.
Yes.
They would, but they could get another broker,
Yeah.
you know.
And-
If somebody came to us with an offer outside of this, we could entertain, I mean, we could sign another contract with a different broker.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
It's just, that's my point.
But since the building isn't currently listed per se, right? Would we get ourselves into any sort of legal bind by responding to this request from Mr. Josephitis for this one interested party? And let's just, you know, go down the road, if that goes through, if it is sold to this party, could we not be on the hook or liable for someone else coming and saying, hey, I didn't know it was for sale, you sold this to this person, it wasn't open up to,
Nope.
okay.
No, because again, that would be a bidding situation.
Okay.
You're using a realtor, which the statute specifically allows.
And we
Now-
did, I mean, we've declared the building surplus, and in a sense, it's still for sale. We just don't have a contract with the broker to represent us. The building's for sale.
And if a third party, not this person that Mr. Josephitis is seeking to bring into the picture, came to you and said, hey, I wanna buy the building, as long as it wasn't, somebody that Josephitis had brought, you're free to contract with them too. I mean, right now, you don't have a contract with anybody.
Correct.
Essentially, and so much of this is, it's an email right now.
Yeah.
And it's in very broad terms.
Yep.
So the answer becomes, we're open to send us what you want us to look at, define the way you want us to look at it, and we'll have our attorney look at it, and then we will adjust it as we think appropriate.
Okay.
You know? So we're not committing to anything by saying, yes, send us your agreement, you know, we're willing to have that. In any case, I believe if we didn't do that, I think we would,
It'd be irresponsible.
yeah, we would be in breach of our responsibility. So,
Okay, so I'll just take an action to myself to go to reply to Mr. Josephitis on, pretty much let him know. Send us what he has, send us what the contract is. We need to have a special meeting, we can have a special meeting and approve it, but we need more information.
it all begins with getting that, and then,
Do I need any kind of motion for that, John, or can I?
Yeah, I think a motion would be in order to authorize, President Malinowski to, continue to explore with Mr. Josephitis a, listing agreement.
I so motion.
I will second.
Do I get to vote on that?
Yeah, I think, Chris, you can't vote on that,
Right.
since all it's doing is exploring it.
Giving him the authority and then
Right.
hands off after that.
Yeah, well, it would depend upon what comes back, but yeah.
Okay. So, roll call vote, trustee.
You know what, here's the thing,
Aye.
just to keep your hands clean, we only need 2 votes to do this. You can
Abstain.
abstain.
Okay.
I would just walk away, just because you know, if somebody were to try and spin some sort of a deep state conspiracy thing, oh, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Don't, just keep your hands clean.
I'll abstain.
Trustee Mack.
Aye.
Trustee Malinowski, aye. All right, so
Who
2
made-
ayes,
was it-
0
motion
nays,
was-
1 abstain. Motion was, made by Bruce to allow me to
President
continue.
Malinowski to contact Mr. Josephitis and continue to work with him and request he set his terms and agreement over for review listing.
Yep. Very good. But yeah, most action we've had on that agenda item. I have nothing else, regarding the sale or lease of the building. What are the condo, what do I call it again? Robin Woods. I thought they were gonna get their parking lot seal coated in June, but they haven't contacted me.
anything, so I don't know if they had it done or not, but Robin Wood's looking to use our parking lot for parking while they get their parking lot seal coated.
Oh.
They're just to the north right here, just to the north of Shepherd.
No.
We've done it a couple of times. We
Yeah,
charge them $100.
yeah,
So they put a few cars in here over the weekend, that's about it.
yeah, so. And then agenda item 13, board discussion update regarding IDOT improvements. Nada.
Well, I can tell you.
I got nothing.
After I heard about the 2028,
Mm-hmm.
so as I mentioned before, you know, the glide path for this year, once they get past on real estate acquisitions for major construction projects, if that doesn't happen in the first quarter of the fiscal year, right, because there's always puts and takes with those
When's
numbers.
our fiscal year?
July
When's
1
the fiscal year?
through June 30th is the state's fiscal year.
Okay.
So if it doesn't happen in Q1, typically, because it takes time to settle out, get the exact dollar amounts and glide slope to spend all of it by the end of the year. So if it doesn't get initiated in the beginning of the fiscal year, I just talked to somebody with the capital about a project that I'm working on my other employee, but this came up. He said, if it doesn't happen in Q1, it doesn't happen, basically. They've got them teed up on a rack. They don't do it if they don't do it. And I asked them, so why 28? I understand that basically all the puts and takes are already in place for 26. He didn't understand why 28 versus 27, but yeah, 26, next fiscal year's already decided. So we didn't make the cut because a couple projects ran over. Therefore, and this happens. And so projects run over, they have, and they tier them. So we were a tier 3 project, and they went through tier 1, went through tier 2, and they had two tier 2 projects wound up going over, cost some money. So next year's already figured out, because they had to have that racked and stacked and ready to go. That was done long ago. So yeah, at least 27. If somebody's saying 28, I would like to understand why 27 is not on the table, but it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Just so you understand the machinations that happen, because it's capital improvements, they never come in over the budget.
Okay. And other items as may be lawfully brought before the board, discussion only.
We do need to, this is on me, this was gonna happen last month. I wasn't here. The same. So what I would propose to do, just because it's not due until December
12th.
December 12th. I wanted that monkey off my back. One of your colleagues, John, suggested less is more, and I'm a big fan of less is more. I have taken a first stab at it, but obviously,
I sent you all the
You did.
financial demographics, and I followed the less is more approach to it.
Yes, you did, and both the chiefs have provided me some data. I will have some questions, because I don't remember exactly what they were, chief, but I remember I was going through it, like, I wonder what they, what they mean by this. But what I would suggest is, if everybody's cool with it, I'm gonna target trying to have something that we can discuss publicly, for the next meeting, and then see if we can't get our Senate committee member here for that. Or just you guys members. Well, I know one of them. Everybody's cool with that.
Yeah.
That sounds
Do
good.
you think, Chris, that August is on your?
Looking at my schedule right now.
You're reading my mind.
Yep,
Thanks, brother.
it'll be the 12th,
It would.
and I am free. I will be here.
All right, 'cause this is the kind of thing I wouldn't want to do it for just 2 weeks.
Just remember, you'll have to have the, posted, if you're the Senate committee's meeting, you'll have to post it.
I'll have to do that agenda. I'll do a combined agenda like I did last time.
Sounds
So we will, so since you're still here, you know, you can volunteer, but, so we'll start a half an hour earlier than we did before.
Yeah, that worked for Dan, 9:30 or last night.
Oh, you John.
You made it work.
You made it
I think you made it work.
If it's our last
Yeah.
meeting.
That's what we've always done.
Yeah, okay.
We just, because, I forget, Libertyville Fire Protection.
Yeah, we can't have it run late, that's why
Exactly. Yep.
past that to run. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's go to regulars.
All right, I'll plan on that.
With there being nothing else, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our meeting at 6:56 PM. Marley, Chris. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you, Chief.